Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of SSE. I'm your host Arthur, and I'm joined again, of course, by Justin and Dan.
Hello.
Hmm.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about rolling in tabletop games, rolling dice, and if more rolls make a game fun, or if less rolls make a game fun. Justin came up with this idea, so I'll have Justin start us off.
Okay, so hear me out. If you've ever DM'd before, especially for D&D and Pathfinder, have you ever had that shit ton of dice, like fucking 20 dice you gotta roll on high level campaigns? Just because you're like, I need to roll for damage. You guys are taking a lot of damage. And then you gotta count each individual piece. It's not fun when you're the DM, but when you're the player, I find myself loving every chance I get to roll. Like, I actively search myself out. Like, oh, I want to jump off this bridge. Can I please make an athletics check to, like, try to jump off this bridge or something? And usually the DM doesn't care. It's like, yeah, it's got nothing to do with me. You're causing yourself trouble. But I feel like when I'm a player, rolling is so fun. As a GM, I don't even know why I'm rolling half the time. I just roll to roll. So I'm curious to see from at least a player perspective to see if it's similar compared to me, because I mean the entire game is about rolling, right? So I assume you have to enjoy it if you're playing, right?
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about seeking out checks and
Well, that on top of, like, I mean mechanically as well, but we can talk about that a bit later. Like, actively searching for roles is one of the things.
Well, I agree with you that rolling as a DM is the worst. Um, Not only because like you have to add up all the dice and whatnot. If that was just it, that would be fine. But like you have to keep track of all the different modifiers for all the enemies, and it, it's it it's a lot more because like as a player, you know what attacks you have at your disposal. You know what your modifiers are, and you basically have to keep track of like three or four different ways like maximum to add to whatever the dice the whatever it says on the dice. But as a DM, like your average like pack o thugs might have like a kobold which has its own strength score, so that's one modifier, and then like maybe it has a dog with it, and then oh that's a different one, and then something you want something flying in there, so there's like a pigeon.
There's something like a
I'm
pigeon.
sorry, it's a dire pigeon.
A dire pigeon. Ooh,
And that's got
fearsome.
its own
yeah,
modifiers.
not to mention all those enemies might have weapons that have different hit, different damage dice.
Yeah, and like if imagine if you want like an enemy squad and it's got like a druid and a uh wizard, like that's like two different spell books with all different sorts of rolls that you could have to bust out. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meanwhile, as a player, chances are you already know which two, three, four, or five dice you're going to be rolling and what order you need to roll them.
Yeah.
The poor D12, like no one ever uses it in like Pathfinder or D&D.
Well, you can get there if you're like a fighter.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you as a player probably have a combo down, like, okay, so first I'm going to roll to hit, maybe once, twice, three times, who knows. And then if I hit, my damage is this, plus that, and you've already done it so many times that you're just, you know, quickly getting through all of it.
Oh yeah, with certain characters, I just dig through my dice bag, and like with the alchemist I played, I really just like took out as many d8s as I could from my dice bag and a d20, and I was good for the whole session.
There's something really nice as a player being able to roll a ton of damage dice.
Yeah, I think it feels good.
Meanwhile, as a DM, I like have the screen up, and I'm like, okay, these are just a bunch of D4, but they don't fucking know that. Just roll, and you're like, okay, one, two. This is one of the fucked up dice, so it's located somewhere else. It gets a bit annoying as a DM. I don't know. This is partially me venting.
Do you just roll, or do you color code depending on which character is doing the attack?
Oh fuck, man, dude. I honestly just say in my brain, this die is this die is this. Roll both
It
at the
might be
same
easier
time.
to color code it a little
Nah,
bit.
but here's
then
the
you have to
thing.
buy
Like,
a ton
yeah.
of dice.
Like when you have a shit ton of dice like me, and then there's like also like a lot of swapping, a lot of dice jails and whatnot. You just lose track over time. It's not fair for the DM that the players get to like, nope, this die isn't working. Time to break out a new one. As a DM, I'm like, there's just not enough options. Like if I do that, then I'm just lost.
The DM has enough power.
Yeah. Exactly.
The dice are the only thing holding them back.
Yeah. That's the only thing holding me back. Literally, during narrative, I can do whatever I want, but it's like I rolled a hit. Nah, he doesn't hit you for the 5th time. I'm sorry. This battle is very one-sided.
And it slows down combat a lot sometimes, especially if you've got a lot of the enemies going in a row.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with high-level combat, because you're like, either I gotta swarm or I gotta have one big guy, and one big guy is just never enough. Because you're just sitting there, it's like, there's 5 of them, he's got 1's turn, they get 5. The action economy here is not exactly fair.
Well, 5e tries to fix
They do try to fix that. I mean, there are things...
legendary action.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I think is good in terms of, like, mechanics. I really like them doing
that. Like lair actions.
That's really cool, because you never had that before. We're like, nah, dude, I'm in my lair. I'm gonna do my own shit. I got some home stuff that I got home court advantage.
Or you throw in a Hydra with, like, 7 heads.
Please, no, don't remind me. No, so let me ask you, how about for rolling characters? Specifically for, like, Pathfinder or
You mean
D&D.
character creation?
Yeah, character creation. Because rolling, like, that's the only time you ever roll in that, like, during that time.
So you mean, like, to...
Like, do you want to
figure
do
out your
point
stats
by,
and
or
whatnot?
do you want to do stats?
Oh, no, I'm gonna point by it. Point by is just so much easier, and you can, manipulate your way to a good
Rolling for characters often ends up having one character in the party be like it leads to like having a main character in the party because like someone rolled good and everyone else maybe just rolled average.
Yeah, so...
Who rolled all the 18s.
Yeah, I can definitely see from a balance perspective as well, where you're like, well, one guy's doing all the fighting, the others are kind of screwed because their stats are all like 13 and below.
I was in a campaign once when I was in high school where we were told to roll our stats before even choosing a class, and then you had to choose a class that fit.
Yeah, we had to do that with the 3.5 campaign.
I actually did that. I want to say like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago I did that for another campaign I just joined.
But that makes sense. You probably should like not choose your class until you.
Yeah. Well, so part of it was that it was heavily homebrewed. So like one of it is you can only have one spellcaster per like group because we have 2 groups in the same world. And when we heard that, we're like, guys, whoever gets the highest, just you are the spellcaster. It's as simple as that.
I was thinking the opposite, because like if you want to have like a rogue or a monk, you need them to have like at least 2 18s.
Well, part of that was along the lines of when we did it, we're like, we want the spellcaster to survive no matter what. Like, we want them to be able to do like all of their things no matter how much. Because again, like even if you're like a barbarian, you want high strength, it carries over to the classes in 5e as well, where like, oh, you want a high like charisma if you're a warlock or a sorcerer, because that's where your spells come into play. We always want more spells in play because those have a lot more variance than a guy just hitting you again and again.
Yeah, I was just thinking more along the lines of though like a wizard is like in D&D in general, I don't think they've figured out how to make wizards like not just wizards, spellcasters like not significantly better than anyone that's just like shaking a stick.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, level one, like, there's not a whole lot for them to do.
It hasn't happened at level 1, but, like, in general,
No.
I feel like the wizard would probably have the easiest time dealing with low rolls in character.
Well, we're fortunate that the person decided to be a cleric, because I was, like, looking at our lineup, I'm like, we're gonna die. We have one guy who re-rolled, and his stats were, like, as a total, probably less than 60, and we were like, oh, fuck, he's gonna die real fast. But that's just part of it. We're doing like we're fine with death. We just want to go on and on. We just want to roleplay mostly.
I've been using online dice rollers a lot recently.
I use it for big combats. For like, oh, here's a dragon. I'm not rolling fucking 12d10s. Fuck that.
Yeah, I've been using them for like everything. Like character creation is so much easier with the online dice roller. Especially if you gotta level them up to like when we did that high level campaign recently where we had to like take the level 1 guy and level him up 9 times. So I did it. It took me like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it took me like 3 hours. I was sitting here rolling dice on my desk.
Yeah, but there's always something about rolling the die that you feel like you're in more control than like an application.
I tend to trust rolling the dice on my table over applications because applications. I mean, they're random, but I will blame the application if it rolls low.
Roll20 has a vendetta against me. I'm 100% certain. But whenever I'm playing online, I'm like, I wish I could roll my die. There's just no way to like confirm. Sadly.
I had those trepidations, but honestly, I just got over them.
I mean, yeah. I play Roll20. I've been playing for years, so I'm over it obviously. But I honestly prefer like local for a ton of reasons. But rolling die is one of them. There's just something satisfying about hearing it clink, and then you look at it and you're like, "Fuck, that's a 1."
Yeah, but that's the thing too. Is as a player, it's nice to hear. It's nice to roll 16 dice when you're doing damage, as with a fireball spell as a level 20 sorcerer. But like, again, if the DM has to do that for every single character out in the field, that kind of sucks.
Oh yeah, no, it's probably hell. I haven't GM'd for Roll20 in a long
But
time.
even then, at least you can use the online dice roller. Probably speeds it up. Does all
Well,
the adding
not
for
even,
you.
because I don't know if you guys have used Roll20, but literally the character sheets just have the rolling animation in there. So you don't even like have to type, you just click most of the time nowadays, and it's automated. And it's nice, especially for new players. I find it's very useful for them because they're like, I don't know what to click. I'm like, just click the thing you're trying to use.
Yeah, and it adds up everything already too, right? Because it
Yeah.
links back to strength or dexterity.
Yeah,
Depending
exactly.
on the
There's
weapon.
it's not so clean in some systems, but otherwise it's pretty
Well,
good.
I mean, probably for Pathfinder and D&D, it's probably got it down, right?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's not that hard. The only time you got to worry about is like, well, I'm raging now as a barbarian, then versus I'm not raging now, so I need like 2 instances. But that's
I don't know. There's something fun for me about doing math, though. Being like, well, I get this and that and that, and then counting up on my fingers because I can't add in my head.
I second guess myself too much as a DM. That's what I fucking hate. I'm like, is this 36? I think it's 36. It's 36 damage. Look back, fuck, it was 38. It's
I don't know.
okay.
There's something
It's fine.
fun about rolling the dice and then looking at the dice and then looking at the GM and being able to say, no, that's definitely gonna hit, and then rolling damage and be like, they're definitely dead. I don't know how I didn't add it up yet, but they're probably gonna die.
You know, it just showed up a 20, and I assume he's dead now. Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
When I was playing Gunslinger with you, anything over a 3 was a hit. And I was like, well, that's gonna hit. I don't even
Yeah,
have to bother
because
adding it
touch
up.
AC is so stupid.
Yeah, touch AC is stupid.
They're removing it in the new edition, but that's fine. We're not talking about that. But other than that, so like let's jump to a different system. So like something like masks, where you don't have to roll for the stuff that obviously you can do. So like an example would be like, a superhero obviously wouldn't need to like roll to make a backflip. So it goes to show that certain characters wouldn't need to do that as well. Is that better or worse in terms because you're not rolling, so you could have fucked it up, but apparently you have no chance of it in certain circumstances.
What rolling doesn't take into account is your character's proficiency at what they're doing, because they have a whatever your modifiers are. That kind of tries to fix for it, but still, like if your character is a gymnast who is doing backflips and then all of a sudden you roll low, they're just gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, and that's where it kind of feels weird. I mean, it's just the dice in general, but say for example, I was a level 1 character in D&D and I was saying, "Yeah, I'm very skilled at like arm wrestling." And for whatever reason, I lose to the wizard just because he rolled a higher number than me. And yeah, that opens up for some really cool like roleplay standards, but that's not how I imagined the character. So is that like fair?
Well, yeah, but like a level 1 character, see, that's the thing. Like a level 1 character is supposed to be kind of shit.
I know, that's kind of the problem.
So that they don't have those modifiers.
In a game like D&D or Pathfinder, if you're playing with crit failures, I hate playing with crit failures after having not played with them for a little bit, because I don't understand how my character who has like a plus 15 with 15 ranks in swimming, for instance, could drown by jumping in a lake.
Well, that's for like skills. In Pathfinder specifically, the 1s and 20s mean nothing. It's just the total. But again, a lot of people homebrew it so that 1 and 20 are like you will auto succeed on a 20 and 1 you will auto fail, which sucks, don't get me wrong, but at the same time there's a 5% chance that you will always succeed, just like there's a 5% chance you will always fail. I feel like that's the reasoning behind it.
But at the same time, I like having that random, not random chance, but it is a random chance at failure or success, where Masks doesn't give you the opportunity to fail, and if you do fail, you can probably talk your way out of it, which I don't know if I like a lot, because basically, I mean, depending on the group too, you can have heroes that just never freaking mess up.
Yeah, but I mean, to a degree, that's also on the GM as well.
Yeah. And I think Masks too, the messing up is more of the psychological side of it rather than the failing at the mission. I don't think you're supposed to fail.
That's the whole concept of a game like Dungeon World, where you don't get experience from killing monsters, you get experience for failing your rolls. So how it works there is it's just like Masks. You roll 2d6. As long as you get above a 6, you will succeed. Partially or 100%, but you will only get experience when you roll 6 or under. So what happens is, as you level up, it actually gets harder to level, because you're reliant on failing, which is very easy early on, but as you level up, you get like a +1 here and there, and slowly you're like, I can't get below 6, what the fuck, I'm never going to improve. And the entire reason behind that, at least for game design-wise, is you can only get better when you fail. You don't get better just by doing the same thing. There has to be failure along the way. That's the reasoning. And I think that's really cool, at least from a game mechanic standpoint, because now I'm not sad when I fuck up, unless it's like I'm about to die.
Well, Masks is much the same way, and that's how I think Masks tries to prevent, like, the character that just doesn't do anything risky, so they never have to roll.
Yeah.
Like, the only way you're ever gonna, like, get anywhere with your character and their level development is to fail a roll every once in a while.
Exactly. And if you don't take those risks, you fall behind everyone else really quickly. But the only difference is that, at least between Dungeon World and Masks, is in Masks, you kind of are already, like, you're close to, you have, where you start, you're already pretty powerful. Like, you come with a power majority of the time. And then you up, and you just ramp up. But there's, like, a ceiling, a very, very low ceiling. At some point where it's like, you can't take anything. You gotta change your character, retire them, move them to a new playbook, something like that. But in D&D, there's that cap is really hard to hit.
Yeah, with Masks it seems to be like 5 levels, and once you can do your moment of truth, that's like the big boom you can have.
Like, you run out of stuff very quickly in that game after a while. You're like, I don't have my moment of truth anymore. My stats are like as high as I can get them. And I'm actually running out of options on what to get next.
But that's just the differences between a game like that. Like, it's more focused on feeling like a season of a television show than it is feeling like this grand epic that can span hours and hours and hours.
I mean, yeah, that's true. It's definitely about the, like, thematic and the way they decided to design it. That was clearly made intentionally.
Yeah, and even there too, talking about dice rolls and all that, you don't roll your character at all. You literally
literally talk it out
for instances. You literally make your character by check marking boxes.
Yeah. And part of me likes that, is its own little...
I mean, I love the system.
In its own little category, just because it's a good game to introduce people to role-playing. Because you're not fighting 100% of the time. You're not doing that. You're just role-playing. Because everything you do, after you say something, the game master walks up and is like, hey, you should roll for that. Okay, I'm going to go back in my little corner, ask me a question when something hops up.
But again, you're rolling 2d6 for everything as opposed to D&D where you're rolling a million of whatever dice you need.
Yeah, but on an extra note, the reason why I love it so much is the GM never has to roll, it feels like, which I love. I just sit there and I'm like, I just gotta narrate, I don't gotta do rolls.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, but does that make it more fun than Pathfinder where you have to make rolls? That's the whole topic.
Yes and no. I enjoy having to just focus on one thing, but on the other end, I'm like, I don't get that. It's like I'm playing a different game compared to everyone else. It's like I have my it's not necessarily that way when you're playing Pathfinder because we're both rolling dice. It's my rolls against your rolls. But in something like Masks, it's really hard to get that DM versus player feel because I'm not doing anything. I'm just telling you what the scene is. I'm like, yeah, there's Superman flying over above you and there's like a meteor crashing down. He's trying to save, like, evacuate this building, but no one's dealing with the meteor. What do? I don't have to roll for Superman to be doing anything. I'm just sitting there telling you he's doing shit.
And that's more fun, though? It's less like
yes
you
and
playing,
no.
It's more like you just...
Yeah. I feel like I'm more of the director, to a degree.
Yeah, or a writer.
Yeah, I didn't always feel like I was playing my character in Masks. Sometimes it just felt like I had like this little like piece and I was telling him where to go and what to do, but there was no sense that I was going to fail for a lot of the time in Masks.
Well, I mean, literally, like, one of your things was, I have this supercomputer that can answer any of my questions. And you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You don't need to roll
give
a
me my
knowledge
answers.
check or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
here's
mean,
your
the dude had a
answers.
smartphone.
Yeah, exactly. He had a smartphone, and he had all the answers. There was literally like, guys, I have 3 questions. What do we do? Well, we finished it with 2. What do we do with the last one? We'll just, like, ask a slightly different question.
Yeah, that rule was weird.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't need to make those knowledge checks in Masks at all.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
You could, I mean, your argument is, my character would know this.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Whereas in a D&D kind of world, you can kind of get away with it. Like, oh no, you grew up somewhere else. In Masks, you're kind of assuming like the internet is a thing. So like, yeah, while you were not doing the thing you were supposed to, you actually found out this information on the internet.
I bet you could do like an old-timey superhero Masks campaign that would kind of fix that issue. Golden Age Masks.
But that'd be pretty interesting. There's some classes you couldn't play.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting at some point to try out. Yeah.
Or some powers you couldn't take.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to do some of them, but otherwise it'd be cool. Yeah, but I mean, if everyone's down for it, I feel like the table could work together to figure that out.
Well, even then, if you rely on technology, you can make some like Victorian era, like Frankenstein looking,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
electric steampunk thing work, I guess.
I mean, again, like,
Steampunk Iron Man.
if you GM, at some point you have to be like ready to like homebrew something. So it just kind of comes with like you taking that role.
Oh damn! Now I kind of want to play that.
Victorian era. Oh yeah, we're just gonna do. So no. What? I guess you could still do some of them. It's just you'd have to like read through every single thing to be like, yeah, this cannot exist.
You couldn't take certain abilities
Yeah.
or something.
I think flavor also has to be a bit different depending.
Either way. Oh, actually this is a segue to something a little bit different. But I was thinking about like rule of cool versus making people roll. So for instance, like maybe not rule of cool, but let's say you have a character walk in to do some diplomatic speech, and the player does a really great, you know, in character type speech about how, you know, this war shouldn't be happening and everyone should be friends, blah 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 blah, and the GM is like, yeah, okay, we'll make a diplomacy check, see if you succeed, and they fail it. Like, if someone goes out on a limb there, right, to make one hell of a speech in character, are you gonna give them are you either gonna give them bonuses for it, or are you gonna not let them roll for it? Like, what's the solution there?
Yeah, so as of right now, my current solution is I don't give bonuses anymore. I just lower DCs because I'm like, this is just too much work for me to be like, now on top of whatever you get, add like an additional 7. Like, yeah, and to a degree, you still can fail something like a persuade roll. The character receiving it could just be really fucking stubborn and not want to listen to you.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how well you speak, if you're talking to like a fucking wall, the wall isn't gonna move just because you
Had a great
said it
speech,
really
yeah.
fucking well. But yeah, I mean, it does suck to a degree. Like, and ruling that is very difficult as well, because some speeches you're like, yeah, like you've listed all the points. The segue should be very easy for you to understand, like what I'm trying to get you to do. But then the character be like, no, I'm just not feeling it, man. No, I don't care if you pay me like $1 billion. I'm not fucking doing it.
So you'll have them roll in that situation.
Yeah, I would, like, to a degree, I would probably still make them roll, but the DC would just lower itself. So, for instance, like, if someone gave, like, I have a dream speech to, like, the player, like, to the NPC, I'd be like, okay, the DC right now is 5. You just roll anything, you're gonna get this shit. But you can still fail, technically, if your persuade is, like, -2 for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think rule of cool should only be able to get you so far.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense in some situations, but, like, I don't really... No matter how good of a speech the Orcs player can make, like the Orc Barbarian, I don't know how well that's gonna transfer through Grobnar's mouth. Maybe he's gonna stumble over the words, because you're not exactly your character, and you don't... You know, you get some sway over what they say, but it becomes pushing it when you're taking them out of their characters to make these eloquent speeches and stuff.
Yeah, but like to a degree, like I think it's totally okay as long as the table agrees to it. So like one example would be like if I have a bunch of actors all doing this and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we want to do the speech." Yeah, like if everyone can do it and the standard is, yeah, we have to make our own speeches for these. I'm fine with that as long as everybody at the table is like, "Yeah, I don't have any points in fucking persuade." Like to a degree, it's fine as long as I can make a good argument. My reasoning would be like, as long as the entire table is like, yeah, I can't just roll persuade to make people do what I want. I have to say it all the time. It can never be rolled. In my mind, that's fair.
So then that would also go the other way, where like even if the character isn't spec'd into persuade at all, their character could just be like masterfully eloquent.
I mean, I feel like at that point, the players should understand how good their like character, like how close they are to their characters.
Yeah, I mean the whatever the table wants to do is always a rule, but it's
Yeah.
interesting to think about.
Well, I mean, like part of it is along the lines of if you're playing this game for the RP standpoint, there are some things you just don't want to roll for then. Like, yeah, maybe an intimidate makes sense, but a persuade check might be a bit weird. If you have like a bunch of musicians and they're like, yeah, we're a fucking bard band, and then one of them's like, yeah, we want to do a performance. I mean, yeah, if they were like, yeah, can we actually do it? I'm not gonna fucking stop you. I don't know why we're playing this when you want to be playing music, but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was saying too, like the speech has to be, or the speech or whatever the action is, has to be within the the realm of possibility for your character.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, exactly. And it's under the GM's like power to be like, no, dude, your character wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah, like, oh, that was a great speech, good job, player.
Unfortunately, your character kind of fucked it up. He's doing like he's pacing, he's saying it a bit too fast, something like that.
Grabnar just went up to the microphone and went, "Arr!"
Gragnar tapped the microphone, hurts everyone's ears. He's like, hello, like really close. He's just doing it. The speech is good, it's just no one can pay attention to
Grabnar
it. Like
was
something
talking
like that.
to the pianist, but unfortunately, Grabnar does not know what the word pianist means and said another word that sounds very similar to pianist.
Exactly. I think another thing is that especially like in big, like not necessarily just big battles, but like when there's something big happening and you're like, it all comes down to this last fucking roll. It's fucking suspenseful as the player. Whereas the GM's like, okay, here's the moment of truth. Roll. Everyone's like, what's about to fucking happen? And the GM's like, oh yeah, it's you're dead. Something like that.
Yeah, it's, like, I was in a game recently where we were, not recently, I was in a game in high school where we were fighting, kind of like the final boss thing, the big bad, and we knew we had him at like either 3 or 2 like HP left, and we were just about to kill him, and all of us were just flubbing attack rolls left and right. It was really frustrating.
But see, that's like also part of the fun, because when you do finally kill him, it's like, yeah, we had a bunch of stupid shit happen, but it was really cool when we finally got there.
Yeah, and you'd want the enemy to be held to that same standard. Like, I don't want to just kill the final boss for free if he's not going to be able to kill me for free.
So yeah, so an instance that I had on, I think, yeah, Tuesday when I played with a group of a bunch of theater people was one of them was like, okay, I want to. So they were chasing a druid. The druid was not attacking them. He was just trying to run away. And one of them was like, okay, we can't find this guy because he turned into a fly in a dark alley. It's like we need to like light it up or something. So one of the players like, oh, I'm gonna do prestidigitation and fire some fireworks off. Now prestidigitation doesn't do any damage. Let's be honest here. But in my mind, I'm like, if you're a fucking fly and fireworks start appearing in your face, I would be pretty traumatized, wouldn't you guys? So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna roll to see if he's like surprised or not. Fucked up the roll. Okay, what happened? So I'm like, he's down to 2 HP. So my solution is, okay, I'm going to roll for the damage because he's like 30 feet up. He's going to take some falling damage. And I'm like, he's knocked unconscious when he comes out of flying form. And then to my players, I was like, that was fucking awesome. That was great. I was like, that's not how this encounter was supposed to go. But I'll let it go this way just because it seemed cool at the time. And I feel like if I didn't roll for it, the guy probably would have gone away. So like, I'm pretty sure, like, even though it was a spell that wasn't supposed to do anything, it made the roll occur. And I feel like even if, like, to the players, like, that kind of thing, I want to reward it somehow.
Yeah. You gotta give them a chance.
Yeah, like, obviously, like, to be fair, originally I was like, yeah, one of the fireworks gets him. It's like, but it doesn't do damage. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna change that to say he got dizzy and he landed in the wall and knocked himself unconscious. Something like that. And just the act of rolling it was like enough to make my players happy because they knew he was low. They're like, we gotta fucking do it. There's no other way we can do this shit. Because they'd been chasing him for like 30 fucking minutes, jumping off rooftops, being attacked by fucking like tornadoes and shit. And like when they got that win, because they were missing all of their like search checks and everything like near the end, they're just like, we're doing everything we can. And like, yeah, for them to change the narrative in a huge fucking way behind the scenes, but it was really fucking cool when they were like, oh man, I'm so glad that I used that spell. And to them, like, to a degree, now that I think about it, it's sort of like Magic Missile to a degree, except slightly better in a way, because he didn't have to roll anything, I had to roll everything. I was like, yeah, the damage is going to occur if he makes or fails his save of whatever fucking number this fly is going to get.
Cool.
Great. Thank you for that response, Arthur.
Yes.
So let me ask you guys, at least as of right now, like, generalize, how do you guys feel about rolling? Do you think it's better in general? Like, being forced to roll is better, or actively seeking it out, I should say?
Well, that's my response was gonna be, well, I mean, if you're playing a role-playing game,
I don't think there's anything inherently good about rolling.
Do you think it's more fun though? Because like the whole game is based around rolling.
Well, yeah, but the game like isn't all based around rolling. There's a lot of in between. There's a lot of stuff that happens in between the rolls.
I mean, that's true.
I'm not very good at it. Like, you guys certainly seem to be good at it.
Oh, we love RP, yeah, but even then too, there's decision making and you know, what am I gonna do in combat?
Yeah, simple as like, guys, do we chase this guy down or do we turn around?
Or,
yeah,
or
we'll
as simple as, you know, do I 5-foot step over here and take this guy out, or do I help out the cleric who's...
Yeah, obviously there's decisions you make that aren't to do with the dice, but at the end of the day, like, make or break, like, you win the fight by rolling the dice. You win the encounter by rolling the dice, usually.
Yeah, well, combat you're gonna have to roll for anyway, because that's the way the game mechanics work.
Yeah. At least for D&D and Pathfinder. I've yet to meet another way of playing a role-playing game without rolling.
But what do you mean? So, like, you know, let's say my character's standing, like, on the edge of a cliff and there's a bridge, or I could jump it. I'm going to actively try to jump it.
Or you could come up with some genius idea to, like, somehow get across.
Yeah, I'm going to cross the bridge if there's a bridge. But if it depends how much I want to mess with the GM too, because if they've given me a big chasm.
Okay, so let me put it this way. So there's like a bridge, and part of it is missing. You have to roll like an acrobatics check to get across, or you could have your wizard burn some flying spells to get you across. Like.
Or you could chop down a tree.
Or you could come up with some other fucking way to get across. Yeah, that's true. But like in general, like me as a player, I would prefer to always go for the roll because I feel like that would be more interesting.
For me, it depends on the situation. If there's a dangerous situation in front of my character, I would rather have a guaranteed way of getting out of that danger, rather than putting it in the hands of the dice. But
yeah, that's how I feel too. I don't want my like with my Cavalier, there was always like that 5% chance that my Cavalier would forget how to ride an animal and like just poop herself and fall down. In the middle of combat.
Now, to be fair, as you got higher level, it was never your fault, it was the mount's fault.
Yeah, but there's a difference between dangerous situations and non-dangerous situations. So if I'm in a, like, let's say I'm playing a rogue, and my rogue's sitting in a bar, and I can choose to roll to, I don't know, sleight of hand, pickpocket some guy's coin purse, and it's just a little flavor thing, I'll do it. I'll roll for it. I'll see what happens. If I get caught, then something happens. I get a little story nugget out of it. If I don't get caught, I get gold out of it. So it's kind of like a bonus, you know? My GM's not going to kill me in the pub.
Next thing you know, bar fight occurs. Little
Well,
did you realize the evil necromancer was sitting across from you, and
Well,
he
who
was
knows,
waiting
you
for this
know?
moment to justifully kill you.
Who knows, but it's different than being like, alright, well, you have a bridge, or you can try to jump across this gap. I'm going to take the bridge, and I'm not going to roll an acrobatics check, because the only thing that matters for a player is your character's safety.
Yeah, I guess that's one way of thinking. I think part of it for me is I haven't had a character really die yet. I think that's partially because I don't play that much. So I'm like, yeah, no, I can just keep going. This character ain't gonna die.
It just comes from, I guess it comes from me playing the first couple times I played with a GM who was very strict about that kind of stuff, where if your character made a stupid-ass decision and failed at that stupid-ass decision, he was dead.
I mean, yeah, but that's fine to me because I mean, like, I can take these risks because it's a game. It's not life. That's part of my thinking, at least.
Yeah, well, you're the one who decided to swim in shark-infested water with meat in your pocket. I
That's-
can't really...
I feel
Yeah,
much
no.
the same way as that DM. Like, I'm always down to let my player make a stupid decision, but I always ask, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
You can definitely try. Yeah, no.
Well, and so when it comes to seeking out roles, I tend to do it in an RP situation more often than I would in
As
a
opposed to like in a combat where it's like,
situation.
hey man, just jump.
I'm gonna roll what I have to roll in combat. I'm gonna roll my attack rolls. I'm gonna roll my damage, but I'm not gonna be the one who's like, well, in the middle of this combat, I'm gonna climb up this pillar and kick off it and do a backflip and stab a guy in the head. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm just gonna stab the guy. You know, I'm not gonna sit there and what was the one campaign you were playing where Dan, I think it was Dan was GMing it, where one of the players decided to run across like the edge of the bridge
Oh, I remember that.
Oh,
to get around some
Yeah.
enemies and then fell. Like, don't do that. Just walk on the bridge. But you know, if it's a life or death situation, I tend to try and argue against making
Yeah,
rolls.
no. But the problem in that situation, I won't lie, was that my character was currently occupying like majority of the bridge, so there was nowhere else to go. Just because I liked my summon
I don't know. I
being
feel like you
big.
could have gone like you know, just wade through the water or something.
Eh,
yeah, he tried that too.
No.
Listen.
there was a lot of negotiating
I'm
here.
okay. I'm okay with like stupid stuff like that. If you want to try to do that, you can be my guest. But like I said before, the rule of cool only gets you so far. If you try some stuff like that and you roll a 5 on your swim check, you're going down the river and you're gonna have to take that consequence.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, you know, I'm okay with certain abilities giving either bonuses or lowering AC, like we were talking about with the diplomacy check, if it's in character and it's well done. But if you're making any kind of like physical check during combat and it fails, it fails. Like that's, it doesn't matter if the player physically stands up and jumps and does a backflip.
See,
his
just like
character
that,
fails.
yeah. Grognog doesn't know how to do that. He also has the bag of holding.
Unfortunately, Grognor still has one arm. So.
No, but I'm moving on. No, that's not how it works, man.
I gotta say though, it would probably be really interesting to play any tabletop with a bunch of gymnasts in a gym and have them like.
You
do
have
the
to show
backflip.
me how you're doing this.
How exactly does
You
your
can
character
either
do the backflip?
roll a 12, or you can go on the trampoline and show me what you got.
You can either roll a die, or if you land really deep in those foam cubes.
If you land really deep in those foam cubes, what, Arthur? What?
You
how-
fall,
your character
you
lands
fall,
really deep in
you
the
fall in
foam
the pool
cubes?
of acid and die. There we go.
No, but that's my 2 cents on the whole thing. Is if my character's in danger, I'm gonna fight to not have to make rolls, and I'm gonna use abilities that don't.
I think this is
require-
why I also love barbarians, because I can be that stupid in character, where I'm like, nah, I have a death wish, it's okay. My character would want this.
Well, even when it comes to playing within character, Justin, you were telling me about how you as a player had solved this riddle that no one else could guess, but your character had
Fucking hated that shit.
3 intelligence or something. And you were like, oh, well, I can't really tell anybody.
I'm just gonna chop down these trees. Fucking 30 minutes later in real time. Okay, I've deforested this tree. What are we doing?
Yeah, meanwhile, Justin's sitting there like, I know the answer.
I know the answer. They're gonna figure it out soon, please. Yeah, no, we didn't.
But then again, you know, like, I'm not going to have my player make a knowledge nobility roll if the king's standing in front of them and they've been a royal subject for 17 years of their life.
Roll me a history check. Oh, got a 1. You have no idea who the fuck this guy is.
But that's my dad. Like, you're playing as the prince.
That's my third uncle. Yeah, man, you just don't recognize him. He's like somebody different. I think it's the stash. It's probably different.
You don't recognize your sister. Like,
she looks exactly like me. She's my twin. It's a doppelganger, dude.
If your GM is making you roll to recognize your dad, get a different GM.
Simple as that.
You can GM next week, because they're not doing a good job.
I mean, the only argument I would put is you have to be very intoxicated or very drugged.
Yeah, okay.
That would be the only scenario that's
GM
okay.
Next week if your character's drunk.
I'm sorry, do you have a knowledge fruit? Because you don't know if that's an apple or an orange.
So much knowledge is required.
No, like, I'm not gonna, especially if I'm GMing, I'm not gonna make players roll for stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But at the same time, there are like some risks players want and risks other players want. I'd be the one jumping over the chasm. You guys be the one taking the bridge.
Well, I do like the suspense in rolling when it comes down.
We'll see who gets there first.
I do like the suspense in rolling when it comes down to certain situations, and I cannot stand the suspense in rolling when it comes to others. Especially like life or death situations.
Oh, those are the best rolls, though.
Yeah, and when they go wrong, it just hurts, but sometimes it leads to good stuff. I think the argument of whether it's fun to roll or not, a lot or not, like, is kind of made moot by the fact that you're playing a game where the main mechanic is rolling. Like, how else are
you better kind of enjoy it, otherwise this is going to be a very
supposed to play
cruel
the
4
game
hours.
if you're not rolling?
Yeah, but there's of course a thing. It's too much.
Well, there's not only that. There's also the actively seeking out kind of deal, too, which I prefer to do as a player.
Oh no, I love, like, if you were to plot a character of mine in the middle of a town, I'm gonna be, starting off by rolling perception and then rolling whatever I need to roll to find out where to go, and then I'll barter with someone just to roll barter rolls.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of people don't like that. Lots of people don't like perception.
I prefer how they do it. They have passive perception,
yeah. Passive perception.
Where it's just your.
I'm down.
I am actually a
passive
huge
perception.
fan, because the problem as a GM is if I asked you, hey, roll perception, guys. Part of you is going to be like, yeah, no, there's something fucking coming.
Yeah, but then you have other GMs who don't say anything like that, and if you don't roll perception, you just miss out a huge chunk of whatever puzzle or something you were supposed to be solving.
See, my current strategy right now is, 1, use passive perception. If that's not available, I'm like, yeah, no, you guys are actively looking. I'll be like, oh, yeah, sure, roll, like, we're actively looking for something. Sure, roll a perception check. Half the time, I'm like, oh, dude, you noticed a rainbow. Nice.
Yeah, again, like I was saying, when I was, in high school playing, we had this really strict GM, and he kind of made me scared of a lot of that kind of stuff, but one point in the game, we were all fighting in this room against a mage who was using a lot of electricity, and none of us had made perception rolls, and all of a sudden he looks at me, he's like, well, you're going to take extra damage because you're stood in a puddle of water, and the electricity that hit the water is hitting you, whatever, etc., etc. And I was like, what? How did I not realize? How did my character not realize I was standing in like a ankle deep, like, pool of water?
Oh, you didn't fucking ask, man.
No, I think that makes sense. I'm down with that one.
You're down with that one?
Yeah, I'm down with that one. Cause like adventurers wear boots and stuff. It's
That's
easy
true.
not to notice your surroundings when there's a guy fucking like shooting lightning bolts at you.
I guess, but that's like one situation I can think of where there's other ones that were a little bit more egregious. But it's like, well, you didn't make a perception roll when you walked in the room. Like usually a GM would explain stuff like that if it were important to the upcoming fight. But I mean, we were playing I think version 1 anyway too.
Roll. Good job, you did it. What did I do? Doesn't fucking matter, man. You rolled.
Yeah. Version 1 or 2, I forget off the top of my head. We switched between the two, and then when 3 came out. Well, not when 3 came out, but then we went up to 3. And then I stopped playing with that group of people.
Why would you do that?
I mean, we just grew separate ways. Not in a nasty way. But I don't know, like, passive perception does make sense, because when I walk into a room, the first thing I do is,
you should notice something.
You should notice some things. Like, if I were walking to a room that had water pooling on the floor, I think I'd notice it. Unless it was dark, but it wasn't. We weren't, like, in a cave system.
Yeah, maybe if it was, like, if you say it was ankle high, maybe that's not something you should roll a perception check. But if there are, like, puddles on the ground, that's
or
perception
if you're in a
check
dark
worthy.
cave or something like that. But we were in a well-lit area.
Yeah, exactly. Again, part of it is the GM. End of the day, your enjoyment will come down how well are you interacting with the rest of your table. But
yeah, it's not like I need to actively, look for the sink to find the sink in my bathroom.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I mean, I feel like we've talked this thing to death at this point. I don't think there's a whole lot left we can talk about.
Yeah, so like I guess.
Other than you want to talk about your favorite die, but.
Oh, favorite die?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the only thing left I can probably ask in this subject.
I hate the D20 because it always fails me.
My favorite die is wizardsofthecoast.com/online dice roller.
Good plug. Good plug.
Yeah, please, Wizard, give me a free online dice roller. Oh wait, you already did.
Oh please, more free online dice roller, please.
I like D8s, but that's because a lot of my characters tend to have weapons that use D8s, and when you get to roll the D8, it means you've dealt damage already, and that means you're doing something. So I guess D8.
I stepped on a D4 once. Those are on my shit list now.
Oh yeah, D4s are horrifying.
It's like a Lego, man. It's like a
I
fucking
feel
Lego.
So stupid.
Roll a
It's
D8
like I have a
divide by
bag.
2.
Why isn't this in the bag?
Just roll a D8 and divide by 2 at that point. And I mean, D6 is classic, but it just makes me think of Monopoly.
Those horrible, horrible memories.
D12, I don't even remember what it looks like. I have rarely.
You
ever
don't
used
really
it.
use it for a whole lot.
D10s.
No,
I don't know.
I think D10s are my favorite because you can do the D100s with those.
No, that's true. Or you can just
And
buy.
D100s are my new best friend right now for random
I
encounters.
mean, or you can just buy a D100, like a 100.
No, I'm not
sided.
fucking. No, I'm not doing that. I have two
I've
D10s,
seen
two
those.
perfectly good D10s.
Alright. I do want to get some weird dice just to have, like, whatever weird number they can put on it. Something that's
Or a
not
giant
multiple of
die.
10. That'd be interesting. I don't know how.
There's
how they
some
do that.
giant dice.
I don't want giant ones. I don't have room for giant dice. Live in a studio. But yeah. So I guess overall the verdict is, on for me at least, it's when I'm in danger I don't want to roll, and when I'm not I want to roll as much as I can.
Coward.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing that's important to me as a player is my character's life. So
I guess I'm taking a pretty like milquetoast stance on the. I don't even know if what I'm about to say is like taking a stance on the issue, but like I like to roll sometimes.
I like to roll when I'm not dying. If it's a death saving throw, no thank you, sir.
No, I don't even mind. I like to roll when it's important.
oh, and it has that like emotion behind it.
Yeah.
When you're like, I have to do this roll, kind of deal.
When there are consequences behind the roll, I'm okay with rolling.
When it's like, hey, do you hit on that girl? Roll me a quick D20. Nah, nothing happened, man.
Yeah, or well, more like what happens when I hit on the girl? Does she kick my ass? Do I slip on PP? What
Little did
happens?
you realize you were hitting on Kimby, Dan. I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention that little
Oh,
detail.
Yeah, but
She's so small.
but yeah,
Justin, what say you?
yeah. What say you, Justin?
Okay, two stances. As a GM, fuck dice. Fuck dice to hell. It's not fun to roll so many fucking dice. I don't know
So you
why.
like rolling D100.
I like rolling D100s because it's a random generator for me. But in at least as a player, I fucking love it. Like if there's an opportunity for me to roll, I'll fucking take it. I leave all my chances up to the god, but that's because I haven't died yet, so I'm not afraid.
So dice are fun except D4.
Yeah, because you can step on those and, you know.
Fuck the D4.
No one needs it anyways, except those little rogues and stuff.
Alright. Or, people fighting without a weapon.
Yeah.
So that's that then on that. Yeah, anyway, kind of not about this topic, but just about the future of what we're going to be doing. We're thinking of starting up a campaign and running it on the podcast.
Yeah, because we don't really have a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're going to run out at some point.
I mean, we're gonna run out in like 2 episodes or 1 episode.
Yeah, probably. This might be our last episode.
This maybe we'll never record
Maybe sooner.
again.
Maybe we're out right now.
We're probably gonna start playing it next month. So who knows when it'll be uploaded? Probably in 2019.
Oh man, fucking a year from now.
Whenever I decide to edit it. But we'll be having
30.
It'll be Justin will be GMing.
Yeah, we're gonna be in some loopy world for all I know. I haven't thought about it at all.
Well, you should probably start planning. Dan and I will be playing, and we'll be bringing on someone else who has never played any tabletop RPG before to play with us. And the whole goal of it is to be able to show you a lot of what we've been talking about in practice, and even every so often, especially with an inexperienced player, be able to take maybe like a 3 minutes to explain how something works, especially because he'll be able to ask questions that we won't even think of answering because we've been playing, we take it for granted. So that'll be starting up, so get excited about that, I guess.
Whoa, all 2 of you.
What if we what if we all GM?
That'd be interesting too. We'd have to do one-shots though. I don't know if we want to do like a big...
No, what if we all GM at the same time?
Okay, no players?
And instead of playing characters and pitting them against the GM's world, we all pit worlds against worlds.
This is gonna be very interesting if we do that.
Doesn't that just come down to us playing as worlds though?
Basically.
Okay. No, I don't
Wait,
think that's
guys, I don't think that's a legal move, what you just did.
You can't crash your planet into my planet.
That's
It's
not
legal
fair.
in my world.
My planet has thrusters that can move the planet really fast. No, we won't be doing that. We'll be playing a real game.
I do think
My
maybe...
planet has a gun.
Do we know what
Fuck.
system we're going to be running, or?
Kind of up in the air. I do want to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition when it does come out for the playtest,
we
but
can do a one-shot.
we're gonna be missing that by like a couple months, so...
We could one-shot that.
Yeah, we can one-shot that. We can bring some other people who have played Pathfinder, and that's probably the best chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because anything we talk about now, there's a lot of changes, but none of it really matters until we get the whole thing.
Well, that's
so.
the kind of thing we can do then, is we can one-shot it and then do an episode about how we feel about it.
Yeah, we'll probably do that. Finding other people, because I know we definitely want to try it out, but I would ideally have more than just 2 people playing, so...
So for the campaign we will be running, though, that for next month, 5e?
Most likely 5e, just because it's very simplistic. Everyone should have learned it at some point in their life if they play role-playing games. And it's the standard. You play D&D because you want to learn D&D.
I think it's the easiest to get you involved, for sure.
Yeah, that too.
And as we're playing, we'll be explaining everything, hopefully. Maybe not everything, but
yeah,
we'll see how Kevin is the person we're bringing on, how Kevin fits into all of it.
Yeah, we will be probably rolling dice one way or another, so that is a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's it for this episode of SSE. Thanks for joining us. All the stuff's in the description if you want to find us or ask us questions or whatever. And have a good one.
Bye.
Beep.